Hi, good evening, everyone. Hi, this is Christine Crowell, and wow, I want to really talk to you about some really some remarkable things that's happening right now, and I hope everyone is safe and well. And welcome to the channel. I want to really talk about the possibilities of the real reasons behind Elon Musk, you might as well say government takeover. Now, there's a lot of theory that's going around at the moment as to why Elon Musk is in the White House, for example. And today I'm going to be talking about in the live about some of those possible reasons why he's actually in the White House. And it does seem like it is a takeover of some sort because he wasn't elected as, officially as a government worker or anything like that, but yet he's in the office and he's taking over the government offices and its administration. So I wanted to go through some of the things that this could possibly be some of the reasons why. And this is through the research that I've been doing and watching the videos that we're all seeing on YouTube, for example. And whether you're in America, whether you're in the UK, or where you are around the world, everybody seems to know who Elon Musk is. Everyone knows who Donald Trump is, obviously the president of the United States. And it just seems that Elon Musk seems to be having more control over what's being said and is been put into a very high position with the US government and its finances. And I also know that he's very, sort of very aggressive with these contracts that he's got. And today I really want to talk about the contracts that he's got and he's managed to win. And it just seems as if he is looking at all of these contracts and wanting to apply for all of the contracts that he can apply for, which, I understand he's a billionaire and he wants to have as many contracts as possible, for example. But I'm going to go into some of the things of what he's actually won before I go into what you can do in you getting your own contracts. Because at the end of the day, there's contracts out there for everyone. Okay, so we need to look at what it is that you can do to apply for these various contracts. Okay, so I'm going to go into a list of contracts that Elon Musk has won, for example, and what one of the richest men in the world, for example, is achieving, for example. And this list is quite a long list. Okay, so let's look at this. Elon Musk he's got quite a long list of contracts that is won, and he has won multiple billion-dollar contracts, and I'm going to list some of them here as well. Okay, so just imagine Elon Musk. He's got SpaceX, Tesla, for example, Neuralink, followed by SpaceX rocket launches, Tesla factories, and operations as well. So Elon Musk, the billionaire entrepreneur known for SpaceX and Tesla, as we all know, has built a empire. I mean, when I say an empire, it is huge empire. And by winning some of the most competitive contracts in history. But how did he do it? let's break down the strategies that may have helped him to secure these multi-billion-dollar deals that he's got. Okay, so first of all, he's got a very high IQ. Okay, I'm not going to say anything, more than that. He's also got vision and innovation as well. So just think about it. Elon Musk isn't just about selling products. He's selling a vision, whether it's making humanity a multi-planetary species or transitioning to clean energy. Musk aligns the companies with groundbreaking innovation, government and corporate. It's not just about investing in technology. They're about investing in the future. And it's his envisions that I'm discussing here. He's very, very, how can I say it? I'm not going to get political here, but I feel he's creating this. He's like a kind of like a troublemaker. He wants to separate. He wants to segregate. He's got this in him. But yet he's got all of these contracts and he's in with the governments, for example. As far as I'm concerned, I believe that there's been some, a lot of racist, fascist behavior, for example, that has been put on to people that has been able to actually perform these types of behaviors, which is unacceptable behavior. But yet he's got these contracts, government contracts. Now, let me just discuss something here. Now, when we apply as business owners, when we apply for contracts, if we do something wrong, we lose that contract. I don't know if anyone here that has got contracts and has read their contract terms of business, for example. You lose that contract. But yet he seems to be able to hold on to these contracts that are worth billions. He's being paid $8 million a day with the contracts that he's won. But yet he can accuse the government of who he's got the contracts with of stealing, fraudulent, all kinds of names. He's eradicating and stripping and closing down aspects of government funding that's been around for many years, things that have funded multiple charities, organizations around the world, for example. And yet he's got all these contracts. Now, I know that he's got a high IQ, for example, according to the press, according to studies, for example. But I'm just flabbergasted as to how he's still able to have these contracts with the government, but yet be working in the government with the president. Now, when business owners apply for contracts, for example, there's a thing there that says that you are not allowed to they ask these questions. Do you know someone who works in this department where this contract is available? Are you related to any members of those staff members? There's lots of different questions that ask that. And now he's in office. There's one that's come up which is 400 million and yet he's been able to get that. So I'm giving you a storyline here, not a storyline, it from the press and from the news that I'm reading and researching about. But I'm also wanting you to know that you can apply for contracts as well, because there's plenty of contracts out there. But I want you to know the list of contracts that this man has been able to win. And bear in mind, to be able to stand in the Oval Office with your 4-year-old child who tells the President of the United States to shush their mouth, you're not the president, as still is, all of this just doesn't seem right. I believe is caused things to happen in the UK, inciting hate, racial hate, for example. And I just want to I'm trying to get my head around all of this, how a man can be in the government closing down departments of education, 1 or 2% of the government funding, for example, in America, and he's freezing that 2%, whereas there's like 90% that needs to be looked at, for example. I believe even NASA is now at risk. Okay, so I'm going to list all of the contracts that he's won, for example. Okay, so one of his biggest wins came in 2008 with SpaceX. He secured 1.6 billion, for example, which was a NASA contract for the delivery of cargo to international space stations, for example. That's what he really wants to take over all of these big contracts. Okay, so SpaceX was on the verge of bankruptcy. He was on the verge of bankruptcy, and it hits people. Bankruptcy hits people, but he managed to get out from this. And 2008 was a recession. I was affected in 2008. The world, I believe, was affected in 2008. But yet, he was able to turn from the verge of bankruptcy to this, where he is today. But he was able to deliver an innovative solution at a fraction of the cost compared to traditional aerospace giants like Boeing and other large organizations. So he was able to do cost efficiency, and I think that's probably why he's kind of in the White House and Doge is there trying to cut as far as they're concerned, cut the waste. But federal employees just being gone just like that, this isn't normal. It's not normal. And also the fact that the Department of Education, did you see that there was a worker taking a contractor taking the sign off the Department of Education? I mean, it's like this big whirlwind is happening fast, and this is only the third week. It's not usual. This is unusual behavior. However, with regards to delivering on promises, despite early failures, Musk proved that private companies could rival government-run space agencies. So he wants to get rid of the government and make it all, well, according to this, and I'll put the source here, and make it into privately run agencies. I believe this is why it's getting rid of all these federal employees, and because I think he wants to privatize everything. Strategic alliance, partnering with military agencies, helped SpaceX gain credibility. The very things that helped him, I believe now is trying to destroy. So Tesla, it really became a bold government incentive, really. Okay, so Tesla's success wasn't just about making great electric cars. It was about securing government incentives. The US government provided significant subsidies and tax credit for electric vehicles, and Musk was positioned in that, and he benefited from those policies. He benefited from those subsidiaries. Tesla received $465 million loan from the Department of Energy, and the money is to be repaid in the money is to be repaid. I understand that. Okay, but it was repaid 9 years early. But he made such a massive deal. So yes, of course he'd be able to sort that out quickly. Probably got other funding from all these big organizations. So he leveraged the policy. He positioned himself to benefit from the revolution before it became mainstream, the EV, electric vehicle. Okay, so Tesla proved to have the ability to scale production faster than the competitors. He was able to repay the loans quickly. Tesla's early repayment of the government loans increased its credibility in the business world. Now we go into the military side of things, because I want to try and explain to you these contracts that he's got. But I'm telling you this so that you can look at applying for contracts which you're able to apply for. I'm not saying you'll be able to apply at this level, because I think there'll only be a small percentage of people that can do that, for example. And be careful, because if you're up against Elon Musk, you'll be up for a fight, for example. Okay, so Elon Musk, he didn't just stop with NASA. He also won contracts with the US military in 2020. He secured a $149 million Pentagon contract. This is a contract that he won in the place that he's working with Doge and his team, for example. And this is what I don't understand. If you've got it just seems as if it's bias. So I just want you to think about the expansion of SpaceX beyond NASA, securing defense, commercial contracts. He's offering an unmatched solution. He's also building trust through performance, for example, and this is in America at the moment, but also I believe he wants this to happen worldwide with the UK, across the world, for example. And I remember listening and looking at a video. There was a gentleman in Nigeria that created an electric car. And it's still there today. For example, was it Nigeria, Kenya? One of them, I need to put the name there. And he created it without having all of this money at the fraction of the price. Just like how DeepSeek did things at the fraction of the price. So one thing that sets Musk apart is his willingness to take massive risk, whether it's building rockets that land themselves or producing cars at an insane pace. He pushes the limits. He really does push the limits. It's like he's on, I don't know what he's on, tell you the truth. His company is repeatedly proving that they can deliver, which is why investors and governments keep letting him in and betting on him. So, from near bankruptcy to securing some of the biggest contracts in history, Elon Musk's journey, it is a masterclass. His vision, his execution, his strategy, his positioning is something that we can learn from that innovation and persistence. And the calculated risk can open doors that seem impossible to unlock, for example. So another one that he did is that we're looking at this, right? So SpaceX and Tesla, for example, they've secured sustainable government contracts and subsidiaries over the years. And there's a recent report, SpaceX has been awarded approximately 22 billion in government contracts, with almost 15 billion that is been given from NASA, for example. And this is according to Reuters.com, okay? So additionally, Tesla has benefited from various government incentives, including the 465 million loan from the Department of Energy, which was repaid early. So, and this was according to, it says tagvolt, for example, .org, for example. It's been given so much money, of course he'll be able to create these things. If you were given billions of dollars, you would create these things, wouldn't you? He's been given a very, I think at the moment, I think he's got a very unfair advantage compared to the other contractors, for example. So yeah, he has got government influence. and he's able to win these contracts that are coming up. So what do you think that Elon Musk wants to gain from his proximity to Donald Trump? What do you think that he is looking to gain? Because years ago, they didn't get on very well, did they? They didn't get on very well. Donald Trump and Elon Musk did not get on very well. But all of a sudden, they're pals. They're great pals, for example. And Elon Musk is there talking when the president should be talking. And it just seems that there's this takeover in the White House, and he's pushing these boundaries all the time, and the judges have to keep stopping it. They're like working around the clock. They must be exhausted with this because they're constantly fighting. People are losing their jobs. People are walking away. People have had enough. They're stressed. But what I want you to look at, because you may be in America right now or in the UK. We don't know what's going to happen when Trump and Keir Starmer meet in the UK, because all of a sudden Farage is great buddies with Elon Musk. Did Elon Musk give Farage a big sum of money? And what contracts are they in the UK that Elon Musk can apply for, even though he doesn't live in the UK? For example, you can do things internationally, for example. But what contracts are coming up that we don't even know about that Elon Musk is interested in? Because I believe that there's some sort of invested interest in the UK as well as in America. And we will see in the next couple of weeks. But what I want to say to you all is that you can apply for contracts. Like I said, you can apply for contracts. There's the 250,000 fund that is being created for businesses. This can also help you in your business as well. If you're under 3 years, for example, if you're in the UK, for example, apply for contracts. If you're from healthcare, if you're a healthcare business owner, think about what other contracts that are healthcare related as well. Because as we know, West Streeting is trying to curb the agency spend within the NHS. And, we need to look at how best we can keep the flow going within our businesses, for example. What specialisms, like what made Elon Musk stand out is because he did things that were extraordinary. And you have to do the same as well. You got to be extraordinary. You can't just be generic now. You got to be extraordinary to get the extraordinary types of contracts. The government want to work with you, but look at things that you can do that's going to get you work for your business. I've mentioned it. It's not just, it's not just workforce. It's not just nurses and healthcare workers. It's not just hospitals. There's other organizations that will give you contracts, first of all. Secondly, if you want to work with the hospitals, then look at what other contracts that they have available that you can supply staff to. Because there's a new type of contracting now. You see what Elon Musk is doing. He's got a game plan going on here. He's trying to. It seems like there's this whirlwind being created as some sort of form of distraction to stop you from applying for contracts, to stop you from getting money, for example. It just seems like this huge distraction is going on. And I urge you to look at the government contracts that are available to your organization that you can apply for. Like I said, there's a lot more to just providing workforce. I was speaking with a lady the other day about look at, and this was, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I said, look at, doing other things besides workforce. I can tell you right now, you're leaving money on the table because everyone seems fixed on a certain avenue. Elon Musk, yes, the things that he does, it's about environmental and saving money and doing it at the least cost. I mean, look at the motorhome industry that he's created. Have you seen the motorhomes that he's created? You can get one for about $19,000, whereas usually they're $50,000, $150,000. What's that going to do to the motorhome industry? We got to start thinking outside of the box and being different. Just like how I'm doing AI automation for healthcare businesses, for example, that's what he's doing in the US Department, for example. They're creating these workflows, they're creating these things that's going to reduce the staff salaries, payments, for example. But is only just focusing on 2% of the budget of the US, for example. I believe is going to be, from what I'm seeing, what he's doing in America, and I'm just, just talking. I believe that it's going to happen. He's looking at what he can get from the UK, for example. He's not going out of his way for no reason. His children are going into the Oval Office, whereas Donald Trump said no children allowed in the Oval Office, and you must dress a certain way if you're going to be in the Oval Office. So, and you know what? I think it's good to bring your children to, if you've got a business, to bring your children to a business meeting if they behave, for example, because it's good for them to learn about how business works, how your business works, for example. It helps. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing at all, but also there's got to be some behavior as well. But what I want to say to you all is that think about all of the things that you do currently at the moment. If you do healthcare and you're providing nurses and carers, for example, yes, those are contracts, but what else goes with healthcare? Telemedicine. Think about all of these things that you can look at applying for. And the reason why I'm bringing up Elon Musk here is because he thinks outside of the box. He is extraordinary in what he's applied for. Yes, he hasn't just applied for generic contracts, has he? He's applied for contracts that are highly unusual. And he's like, yeah, look, this is what I can do. And he's got the breakdown of how it works, etc. So then he's able to get funding and loans for these extraordinary things. And that's why, because of what he's done, he's been able to go into the government and basically it seems he's taking over the government's finances. But what has that got to do with contracts that he's got? Why would someone who is a provider, i.e. a supplier, for example, why is he working alongside the buyer? Because isn't that bias? Isn't that wrong? I think it's wrong. You know, if you're applying for a contract and you're there in the same building next to the buyer that's got the contract, and you're basically looking at the sheet that they've got of what their requirements are of that particular tender, what the scoring criteria is. How do we know that's not happening? How do we know? We don't, do we? But it probably is. He's got a very unfair advantage. He's in the government. He knows about what people are spending. He knows how to do the pricing, etc. He's got AI helping him, as well as the Doge team are helping him to get these, to look at, I mean, you just think about it. If you want to go for these contracts, for example, you have got, usually as a buyer, usually as a supplier, meaning you, if you are a supplier, that is, you wouldn't know how much that they're paying for things and that people are paying for things. This is why I believe Elon Musk is in the government, so that he knows what prices to charge and go in at, so that he will beat all of the competition that has come before him and that has been supplying to, for example. He's got a very unfair advantage. But with you, for example, what I'm saying to you is that you've got to think extraordinary, just like how he is extraordinary, to look at what other contracts you can apply for. Don't have all your eggs in one basket, because the way that this government is behaving in America so far, and then they come into the UK in a couple of weeks, apparently. Keir Starmer, they had a discussion on the phone, but yet they didn't talk and say what the discussion was about. Farage and Elon Musk, they're in, very good pals at the moment. So what is that conversation about? I just want you to be, how can I say it? I want you to be able to apply for these contracts that you're eligible for. And I want you to be able to get it on the merit that you're able to do the job effectively and you're qualified to do so. Elon Musk is getting something because he knows what's involved, but he also knows what payments are available, for example. So is it that he's there to see what available money that there will be so that he can apply for a contract and get a loan, for example? He doesn't need a loan, does he? So why is he there when he wasn't the when he isn't the president? But he's being given these contracts that is in the government building. And I just think that's very highly unusual. And as a normal supplier, you wouldn't have close connections with the buyer, and you certainly wouldn't know what money is available, would you? Because it's called a fair competition. And I don't think that with Elon Musk, I don't think it is a fair competition. That's why he's able to win these contracts. It was just said about that $4 million contract that was won. But what about the other defense companies? Did they get a look in? Did they apply? There's no mention of that. If you look at if you went onto the website, you would have been able to see the contracts that are available, for example, in the US Department, for example. And there are contracts for you to apply for if you're in America, for example, on SamGov, for example, as well as the US Department of State. They've got their contracts as well. And like I said, start off small. Don't go for these big contracts. Start off small first. Get it, and then you get another one. And you build. It's a building block. You do the same in the UK as well. Because wherever you are in the world, I believe there's plenty of contracts for everyone. You just got to choose the right ones, where there's not everyone jumping for the same one. Try and be not be in that fishbowl. Try and think differently so that you can win multiple contracts, because multiple contracts can add and will add up to $1 million, for example, a year, for example. Or if you want to go for $1 million contract, then you go for $1 million contract. Try and keep it under 5 million. But if you're just starting out, start small and look at those ones at like 100,000 a year that they'll pay you. Go for those little ones. Those are the ones where you'll get to that million. Seriously, it will work. If you do it in that way, you will find out that it will work for you in that way. And you'll get there a lot quicker than going for the ones that are 5 million and more. Try and start with the smaller ones and build up, because if you get something that's paying you $10,000 a month, for example, and you've got multiple ones of those, you build up as you get one. By the end of the year, you'll have 1 million, for example. Okay, so I'm just breaking it down to you, and I explained to you about Elon Musk, the contracts that he's got, and the subsidiaries that he's been able to benefit from, and the loans that he's been given. And yes, he paid them back. Wonderful and great. But you can also look at what you're eligible for when it comes to applying for contracts, when it comes to scaling your business, for example. Whether you're in the UK and you're doing a seed fund in the UK, or whether you're in America, there's lots of different aspects that you can look at. But you can start applying for a contract that is not going to require you to have 250,000, for example, in your account. You start with the small ones. Start with one that's going to pay you 10 grand a month, for example. Start with small ones, or even less than that. And you have multiple lower value contracts, and then they end up making it into something big, for example. And you'll be able to manage it because you would have built step by step, slowly, for example. And then you grow your business to where you need it to be. Because remember, it's not you that's delivering, it's your team that will be delivering, for example. Okay, so I hope that was helpful to you, and I hope that I will put some links here about the references and where I got my information from, so you don't just think I'm talking off the top of my head. You know, I have been doing research on this, and I've been doing research for quite some time actually on this, from when it's really started kicking off. So have a wonderful evening, everyone. I hope that that's giving you some thought and some encouragement. Okay, don't let what you hear in the news get you down. Don't let that stop you. Let that fuel you. That's your fuel for you to push and be that eagle and fly high. And fly high as you can possibly fly, because an eagle can fly high, and an eagle doesn't run away from the storm and shrinks and hides. An eagle runs into the storm and flies higher, because it uses that storm and that wind to be able to fly higher. So have the eagle mentality, because that's how you'll be able to grow your business, and that's how you can look at getting contracts. Because Elon Musk, he does have an eagle mentality. Even though you can love or hate him, for example, he has an eagle mentality, and that's why he's one of the richest men in the world, for example. So I hope that you'll be able to learn from this, and don't let it stop you. Okay, you push and you keep going, and you get that contract, and you help your community. Help your community. Okay? All right, so thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and I will speak to you tomorrow. I'll be going live again tomorrow at 7 p.m. with some more news and some updates, some encouragement. I'm keeping it real, but at the same time, I don't want you to stop. I want you to push forward and be even stronger. And don't let nobody stop you from your dreams. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Bye.